Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day to tune in. Much appreciated. And today I want to talk a little bit about Jonny Morris and Bass Pro Shop. Sort of send a message to Jonny Morris. He'll probably never see this video, but at least some people out there will know the message I'm trying to send. And sort of go over that a little bit. But real quick before we get started here, just want to remind everybody that this Friday we're having our monthly giveaway for a case of Bridgeford beef jerky. If you're interested in trying to win that, just subscribe to the channel. That's all you have to do. If you're subscribed, you're good to go. And if you haven't subscribed, just hit that subscribe button and you'll be eligible to win that giveaway on Friday afternoon. But I'll try to get through this video here, man. I'm really stopped up. I've got some type of head cold or allergies or something. It's getting a little better, but man, my head feels like it's, all puffed up right now. I'm coughing and hacking and everything. That's what you get when you got 3 young boys at the house that bring home a germ factory from school, I think. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about Jonny Morris here. And I wanted to do this video based upon a couple different things. Some stuff going on that I saw at Table Rock Lake last weekend in the Bass Pro Shop $1 Million Tournament. And, Jonny, if you don't know much about him, he's from Springfield, Missouri, here where I live. He built the empire of Bass Pro Shop. Started at his dad's liquor store, Stellan Tackle, and he's just made it one of the most iconic brands in the world right now. And Jonny, as a result, Jonny has become a multi-billionaire. I mean, I think Forbes put him at $4 to $6 billion, something like that, which is, excuse me, one of the, I'll probably cough a lot here on this video, which makes him one of the richest people on the planet. And when you have that type of money, money like that brings a tremendous amount of power with it. You have people always tugging at your strings, wanting some of your time, wanting something. With that type of money, you have power, and there's responsibility that comes with that power. And I've been around several people that have had that kind of money before, and fundamentally, the thing that separates people like that, and Jonny Morris he's one of the most down-to-earth dudes you'll ever meet. I've been around him several times. I was around him quite a bit back in the 90s when we had stuff going on at Bass Pro Shop, spring fishing fairs, and when I won the Bass Pro Shop National Casting Contest, he invited me into his office to give me the check for winning it. So I've been around him a little bit, but he's one of the most down-to-earth dudes you'll ever meet. You would never know that he has that kind of money, because a lot of people that have that type of money, when you have billions of dollars like that, the thing that separates you from the normal people is that if you have a concept or an idea, you have the ability, instead of dreaming about that, to actually manifest it physically. And that's what he's done a lot with Bass Pro Shop. The Wonders of Wildlife here in Springfield, Missouri, Bass Pro Shops, the vision that he had behind that, he's turned that into reality, and it's incredible. I mean, if you guys have ever been to Springfield, Missouri here, or been to any Bass Pro Shop, or been to Big Cedar Lodge down at Table Rock Lake, which is part of the Bass Pro Shop, you can see what that's like. You can see what's being able to take an idea and create it into something special. Is really neat. The thing that I really liked about what Jonny's done is that he's built a brand basically around the energy of the Missouri Ozarks here. If you guys have never been to the Missouri Ozarks, excuse me, it's basically the vibe that Jonny has tried to create was based upon the beauty of the Ozarks, the White River lakes, because his boat group is named White River, White River Marine, based upon some of the White River lakes we have around here: Table Rock, Bull Shoals, Taneycomo, Beaver Lake, that type of stuff. And the surrounding beauty of the Ozarks, the hillsides and the hollers and the rivers and the lakes around here. And he's taken that history and the beauty of the Ozarks, and he's incorporated the Bass Pro brand into that. And if you look at the way the Bass Pro set up, a lot of the stuff that the design elements in everything that he's done is designed to aesthetically blend in or duplicate the Ozarks. And if you go into Bass Pro, you know what I mean. There's an energy in Bass Pro Shop that Jonny has created that really honors, the energy of the Ozarks that we live in here. The problem we have here is, while Jonny has taken, that particular, approach to creating his business, and all of his businesses are very aesthetically pleasing, particularly if you go down to like Bass Pro Shop's Big Cedar Lodge. He's got this incredible lodge experience, restaurant, all that type of stuff that blend perfectly into the landscape of the Ozarks. So the colors blend into the natural background. Everything, the big trees have been left standing mature. It's almost like a park that does not stand out. It actually accentuates the Ozarks. It increases the beauty of it. Very difficult to do. It takes a lot of money to do that. Problem that you have right now at Table Rock Lake and a lot of lakes across the country is the development that is going on at Table Rock Lake and the Ozark Lakes is destroying the very concept of what Jonny has tried to highlight. And the message that I have to Jonny is, Jonny is a renowned conservationist. I know this tournament at Bass Pro Shop, they raised over $1.5 million, I think, to conservation efforts as far as to restock and increase fish habitat in lakes across the country. The message that I have to Jonny is that while conservation efforts like that are great and they're a good thing, you got to start looking at the bigger picture of what's happening, as a direct result of this development that we go on here. For example, here, if you go down to Table Rock Lake right now, back when I started fishing Table Rock in the 1960s, there wasn't nothing down there. It was pure, pristine Ozark mountains everywhere. Very few signs of civilization, hardly no docks on the lake. The hillsides were intact. They were beautiful trees. Now you go down there, guys, the entire environment around Table Rock Lake is getting raped. It's nothing short of environmental raping. The hillsides are getting taken off. The trees are getting bulldozed down. People are putting up these big, obtrusive, multi-million-dollar weekend homes on top of the hilltops. Excuse me. The hillsides just getting bulldozed over. And what's happening is the very concept that Jonny wanted to basically accentuate as far as the beauty of the Ozarks as being part of the Bass Pro Shop brand is getting taken away from him under his very eyes, because the Ozarks is changing because of the development there. It's not just the Ozarks, it's all over the country like that. You go into an area where people gravitate to certain areas in nature because they need some type of a therapeutic release. They need to reconnect to nature. And that's why they gravitate to places like Table Rock Lake, or they did. But what happens is, as development goes unchecked, that the very thing that drew people to that area to want to be there is being taken away by unchecked development. My message to Jonny Morris is this: you have the ability and you have the resources to change stuff, not only on the state and local level, but to influence political legislation. People that have billions of dollars can influence political legislation to do good things or bad things. To me, one of the best things that Jonny Morris could do if he wants to continue his conservation efforts is delve more into the area of environmental protections when it comes to things like what's going on with the overdevelopment on Table Rock Lake. Let's look at this scenario right here, guys. Figure 50 years ago, Table Rock Lake, you had basically untouched hillsides, and now you go down there 50 years later, and every single hillside on the lake, all over the lake, is starting to get bulldozed over for trees. Let's multiply that by another 100 years. If you have this same unchecked development that continues year after year after year, what does Table Rock Lake look like 100 years from now? You know what it's going to look like 100 years from now? it's going to look not anything like Table Rock Lake. The whole concept of Jonny Morris's Bass Pro Shop, Big Cedar Lodge, the Missouri Ozarks, Heritage, all that type of stuff, it's gone. It's over with. There's nothing up there but, occasional trees here and there, parking lots, condos, boat docks all over the lake. The energy of the lake will be destroyed. And I can tell you guys right now, unless something happens and there's some legislation passed or there's somebody that intervenes, every single lake across the country we have is going to have that. You're going to have every element that initially drew people to an area gone. Not only are you going to have the aesthetic value of a body of water gone, you're also going to have everything that comes with that increased population. You're going to have higher pollution in the lake. You're going to have overuse. There's a lot of different stuff that go down that is a negative on that. And I think a lot of times we look at all this as a short-term profits. You have these developers up there that are buying up property. They don't care. The only thing they care about is the money that they get from selling lots and selling multi-million-dollar houses. They could give a crap less about what Table Rock Lake looks like. I can promise you that. So anyway, I applaud Jonny Morris on his conservation efforts. But Jonny, I'm telling you right now, spending $1 million to put more brush piles in the lake is not going to help Table Rock Lake in the long term. If you want to help Table Rock Lake, you need to take your power that you have and try to get some legislation passed that puts limits on the development around the lake and put some type of regulations on how things are developed and what can or cannot be done. Because if it doesn't happen, the very thing that you and all of us that love the Ozarks love about the Ozarks is going to be gone in 100 years from now. It's not going to be there anymore. And I think that's, excuse me, guys, I think that's something that it points to a bigger problem we have here, even on a national level, is what this country is going to look like 100 years from now. If you guys look back 300 years ago in the United States of America, this, from the East Coast to the Mississippi River, was nothing but a forest, a hardwood forest. You could probably literally swing across the trees from one end to the other. No development, zero whatsoever. Look what we've done to this country in 300 years as far as the effect that man has had on the environment in 300 years. Now, you take that and you multiply that by another 300 to 500 years. Try to get a picture of what this country looks like. I'll give you guys a prime example here. You see it in every city across the country. You have urban and suburban sprawl. How many guys out there do you know where you've had areas that maybe you hunted at, or big open areas, big forests that have been bulldozed down for housing development, strip malls, that type of stuff? This goes on constantly. It never stops. Every year, wildlife habitat on our natural areas are being destroyed for development. I see it all the time here in Springfield, Missouri. I see tracts of 150-year-old oak trees getting bulldozed down without even the slightest thought, and another gas station or strip mall goes up in it. Multiply that times 300 years from now. What is this country going to look like? You know what it's going to look like? It's going to look like a damn concrete jungle from one side to the other. And until we have legislation passed, and the legislation can only be passed by people that have the power and the desire to do so. Because, guys, politics, I can tell you right now, it's all about money. Legislation and political figures are put into power through money and by money. That's the sucky reality of it. And until we get people in the positions of power that have a vested interest in protecting our environment and protecting our natural world, we're all going to lose it. And everybody that watches this channel out here, most people love being outside. You love to hunt, or you love to fish, or you probably wouldn't be watching this channel. And the problem we have right now in our political environment, and I'm not going to go into politics here because I don't talk about that on the channel, is that so many of our political interests of people that hunt and fish vote against their own best interests when it comes to protecting the environment and protecting the natural world. The safeguards that can exist and should exist in our environmental protections are not being used. That's just the reality of the situation, the way it is. So anyway, back to Jonny Morris. My message to Jonny is, Jonny, thank you very much for everything you've done so far with conservation. You know, you're the loudest voice out there for conservation efforts on this planet. But I ask you to please start considering what I just talked about as far as the overdevelopment and the more environmental issues of it, because unless we take care of that, unless we intervene right now, all that, the way it feels around Big Cedar Lodge on Table Rock Lake, the way that, you know, you wanted it to feel around there is going to be gone in another 100 years from now. It's just going to be over with. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. I know a little bit of long-winded video here, but it was just a concern of mine, and you know, hope you guys take it to heart. I'd be curious to hear everybody's opinion on that, and thanks for listening to the video, and we'll see y'all